Hey everyone. Today we decided to move the release date of the How Long to Beat podcast by 21 days. The new release date is... Psych! You thought I was going to cyberpunk you. We would never do that here on the How Long to Beat podcast. I'm Rick, and with me are Alex and Paula, and we've got a fun-packed show for you today. So we're going to talk about the games we've beaten, the games we've retired, and hey, maybe we've even played a few games. After that, we'll go and talk about our topic of the week, podcast games. What's the deal? And then when I re-find where my agenda's gone, Christ almighty, there we go. We'll talk about the games we've acquired this month in a new section inspired by a similar podcast thread. We'll take a question from you lovely listeners, and then we'll play the hit game that's been sweeping the nation, How Long to Beat. How are you doing, guys? You well?
So good.
Really well.
So good on this, the first attempt at recording
Yes,
this
this
podcast.
definitely is not the second attempt, and Alex's internet is definitely stable. Just, I'm saying that for no reason.
Definitely not dying.
No, not at all. There's no way that ever happened.
Christ alive, let's move past that as quickly as we can. Paula, why don't you tell us what you've been playing this week? What you've beaten this week.
Oh yes,
what you've beaten this week.
Yes, what have you beaten
this week?
I actually finished a game for once. And it was The Gardens Between. And this game is it is a puzzle game about these two friends that in a way they're like going down like memory lane. And the whole mechanic of this game is that you can move time forward or backwards. And you have to decide like pretty much when to do an action to solve the puzzle.
And the screenshots look hella weird. You've got like... It's like someone's emptied the contents of the house onto an island, and then that's just become the level. Is that like thematic or?
It's kind of like pretty much what it is all about.
It's based
like
yeah. Oh, sorry.
All the levels are. I am sorry. All the levels are based around like an activity or an idea or a run of the house, and a lot of the puzzles like use the setting they are in.
This is one of those games you can beat in like one go, right? Like I remember playing this. I think I played this last year, and it's not a very long game, is it?
It took me about 2 hours and a half to beat. Like I beat it like in one sitting, actually. Oh,
nice. Paula has a very detailed journal of all her game activities, and I mean like a literal one. Yeah, nice, Zelda.
Yeah, it is the official Pokemon Adventures journal here.
Ooh, the official.
Coming to a bookstore near you.
Yeah, I remember playing. It's a pretty fun game, like from what I remembered. It's kind of one. To me, I feel like it probably best described as like an excellent like rainy day game. Like just like take an afternoon and just beat it. You know.
I can get behind a good single setting game.
Nice. Well, thank you, Paula. I'm going to jump in and just say I have beaten nothing this week. I'm playing some large games, okay? You know, that's my... Actually, they're not even that long, but they're long enough. So I got nothing.
We've all had those weeks where you just plug away and you've not really like ticked anything off.
Yeah. What about you, Rick?
I have technically completed 11 games, but 10 of those were like tiny ones. So... I'm sort of going to clump those together. So the first one I've beat is 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim for the PS4. Anyone who's been on the Discord or forums knows how much I adore that game. For me, it is the game of the decade and deep cut for any Season 1 listeners, probably this season's Deadbolt. It is phenomenal. It does things that no other game does. It tells a story in a way that only a game could. And no hyperbole, I genuinely believe it pushes the envelope in terms of the medium. It's it's quite interesting. So Sakurai talked about it in one of his Famitsu columns. It's not something I normally read, but it was reported on. And he talked about it as 3D storytelling. Because the way that the 13 characters that you follow, their stories interconnect, they move backwards and forwards in time, and you have a lot of agency as a player as to who you're playing as at what segment. It's a linear story, so you're not affecting the way it plays out,
right?
But it changes the order that you see things, and so certain revelations will be different for you than for other people, and it's one of the special things about it. And it's crazy that it's that good, in the sense that what is an excellent combat system gets lost in just how generational the storytelling is. I won't say too much more about that, because I think a little bit of foreshadowing, we may well be doing a spoiler cast on this game at some point in the future. So I'll leave that as you must play this game if you have a PS4. Must.
I have to say, like
Go on.
only thing that's kept me away, the only thing, is a lot of anime skirts. And why do they get naked in the robots? I just don't understand. But
do you know what? There is a story reason.
Of course there is.
That's all I'm saying. No. But it's not like Kojima. She breathed through her skin.
No.
It's not that kind of story. It's like a legitimate story explanation.
And I will say, from what I've seen, like they've tamed down even like way more from their older games. Like, and look, I'm not here to like shame nobody. You do whatever you want. You want to look at pretty anime girls and boys, go to town. I don't know why. I always feel funny when I'm playing a game and it's like, do you know what, what's the worst part? It's like I played Bayonetta and I love that game on the bus, and honest to God, I had to always be like, just like tilt the game downwards a little bit when it's like, because you're just like, I'm gonna
be super honest. Like, well, I play a lot of visual novels. Spoiler alert for the epics of the month. But I used to play a lot, on my way to university, like on my Vita. And I had to stop with a particular game. I think it was Badaboovers, because there was something I didn't expect out, and I was like, I'm gonna save this like in my pocket, and then like I'll probably continue this game back home, away from any eyes at all.
It's a little bit like, yeah, honestly, I even had that problem with Dragon Quest 11, because like there are segments in that game that get a little fan servicey and you're just like, oh no. And because here's the thing, it's so hard, like right in the moment, who cares, right? I'm like, oh, Bayonetta, great gameplay, but it's really hard to explain to the dude looking over your shoulder, but the gameplay's amazing. You're just like,
I'm reading this copy of Playboy for the articles.
I know, right? Yeah. And like, it's not even really an issue. It's not even really a problem, but it's just my weird, irrational fears.
Yeah, you get self-conscious, don't you? It's not like you're ever going to see those people again, but at the same time, you don't necessarily want to be seen that way.
Yeah, but I have to say, you've made me very interested in this game, because like I straight up have heard nothing about it, but now everything I look up is just like, yeah, you should play this. Like, you really should.
People sleep on Vanillaware. They haven't made a bad game yet.
I had like 13 Sentinels like under my radar, but Rick, you should probably like become like a game seller or something, because I went out of my way to get a copy of the game, even though like it is very difficult for me, because I literally couldn't find it anywhere here in Chile, like at all.
Atlas West, if you have any marketing vacancies, give me a call.
They might need it in the West, to be honest.
They shouldn't though, because they bring some cracking games over, and this is one of them.
I think they just get lost under the deluge, like there's just so many, so many different games.
But it's also a scale thing. So part of the reason that Pokepore and Sheeman and other people have had issues getting copies is that they don't print loads of copies, but the games also aren't super expensive to make. So 13 Sentinels has got beautiful animation, but Vanillaware are a pretty small studio. Right. It's a 2D game. It's not like GTA 5 250 mil budget. they don't need to sell 5 million copies. I think with quite a few of those games, as long as they're sort of shipping 200,000 digital and physical, they're laughing. Like, they've made a really nice profit. And if it means we get more stunners like this game, then I am A-okay with that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I'll leave all of the hyperbole that I haven't already thrown out there for a later date. And I'd like to throw a little bit more qualified praise on the other 10 games that I beat this week, which were the 10 games in the 10 milligram collection. So again, this is one you might have seen me going on about on the Discord. It is a bundle of 10 indie games that are all designed to be beaten in 10 minutes. One of them cheated, Handmade Death Labyrinth, took me about half an hour. But the rest of them were all sort of 10 to 15 minutes. And pretty high bar quality-wise as well, which was really nice. Sometimes with collections like this, you can get the feeling that they've sort of phoned it in, used it as an excuse to cut corners and be lazy. If you play the games in alphabetical order like I did, the first game of the collection, 10 milligrams smiley face, I don't know how better to verbalize that. It's like a smiling emoji. It's a colon and a closed bracket. Sets the bar fucking high.
Okay.
They cover all kinds of different genres. There's a 2-player visual novel that I played with Uvedge, Marriage Simulator. That was quite fun. What else? There's a random 5-minute sort of 2D walking sim called Stroke. That one was phenomenal. It's $10, £8, your regional equivalent. 10 really nice short experiences. Your taste might vary on one or two of them, but it's a really high bar generally. And I was happy to support it. I think we need more of that. It's very easy to sort of get caught up in the whole 100 hours, buy all the loot boxes, sign in every day, sort of long grind game. And like we were talking with the Garden Between, it's nice to have a small, discrete experience that you can jump in and out and have a great time with and pay a fair price for. So definitely give that a look as well. Hearty recommendation from me.
It's kind of like enjoying a little short story collection, right? Like, I mean, sometimes you don't want to dive into a freaking novel. You're like, I just want a bite-sized fun time.
Yeah, and it allowed them to experiment as well. There's things they did in those games that you definitely couldn't do at scale, which is also nice. And it's also somewhere where, like film and music and anything else, that's a gap in which sort of different things can be done within the medium.
I like the idea too of it'd be nice to have even more of these curated collections of these shorter games too, because there's so many game jams and stuff that go on even more these days, and with gaming being so accessible, it's there's so much out there, but it's nice to have even a publisher or group just being hey, here's some 10 of the ones we really like, here you go. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's just nice to have somebody who, I want people to pick my games for me. You know what I'm saying?
You joke. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm so there. And that was definitely nice to sort of be said. I'm going to try and basically say what you've said again. Yes, I agree. That was a very good thing about it. So yeah, that's what I've played. So that's all of us. Now, have any of us retired anything today? I certainly haven't.
I'm the only one.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I've got two
You made
games.
out the balance.
Yeah, I'm the balance. I'm the man who retires. I've retired 2 games on the Switch this week, and not even really because they're bad or anything. It was just I was I'm good. And one of them was Bloodroots, which have either of you heard of this game?
Nope.
No.
The best way I can describe it is it's essentially it's one of those Hotline Miami games, right? The whole insta-death, try to get a nice kind of rush and pattern going while you're playing, except you play as this crazed lumberjack, and it's got this cell shaded art style, and you're hunting down these kind of maybe colonial dudes who killed you, but I guess you're not dead. I actually don't know how you come back to life. It's like in the first 5 seconds you die, and then you're just like alive again, hunting them down. And so you can pick up all sorts of weapons, right? Like there's like axes, like javelins, swords, barrels, ladders, like whatever. But the problem with the game is like one of the reasons why Hotline Miami and like Ape Out are so good is that you have multiple ways to defeat a scenario, right? It's like you die in one hit, but you can complete this in any number of ways. But what Bloodroots has done is introduced elements that require specific weapons in order to pass. So like sometimes you'll need a ladder to get up to this thing, or you need a special rapier that lets you shoot past a like, you know, closing trap. So what ends up happening is you realize that no, this game isn't actually about the freedom of destroying a scenario and like maximizing your route. It's more like you need to memorize exactly how to get through this path, or you are going to die instantly. And I was like, man, that's not that much fun. So like I got to the first like major boss. Like I completed like the first act of the game, and I realized I was like, it's just going to be the same thing from here on out. So I was like, I'm done.
In fairness, you can totally get that kind of game design right, where you just have to work out the route. I haven't played it, but I feel like Fury is kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, Katana Zero too, right?
I own it. I haven't played it yet, so
yeah.
I couldn't say. Although people sang that's praises massively, so
it's very good.
I've not heard of Bloodroots at all.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Bloodroots is a solid 7 game. Like, it's not a bad game. It's good. It's just there are so many better versions of it, and I got it for like $2. It was on sale for like $2, and for the $2 that I paid, I'm perfectly happy with the experience I got.
It's very pretty as well. It's due on Steam soon, so they've got a pre-order page up, and the art is lovely.
Yes,
so it's a shame it doesn't stand out mechanically in the same way that it does visually.
Yeah, and that I was honestly mostly just disappointed because I was like, oh, all these elements should work, but they just are kind of missing something. Like yeah, if you want an experience like this, I would definitely say like get Hotline Miami, Ape Out, or Katana Zero, and you're gonna have a great time. And then the other one that I retired is just a game that no one should buy, but I love Picross, and so I got. It's called Pictoquest, and okay, look, it's not a bad game, and in fact, most games really mess up the UI in Picross games. Like if they're not made by that, like I can't remember the studio that makes the like official sort of Picross, but they have just such a fantastic UI system. And in this one, the conceit is that it's like an RPG. It's sort of like, you remember way back Puzzle Quest, way back in the day.
That's what I immediately was thinking about. Yeah,
that's what it wants to be, and it's not quite. But I will say it does have an interesting thing, because usually in Picross you can like mark areas that where you what is that called again? You can mark
Minesweeper. You can mark where you don't want to hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in this one, you can't do that. Instead, what happens is if you try to color in the wrong space, it results in your enemies attacking you. So it's actually kind of interesting, because instead of like really putting X's all over the screen, it's more like you could theoretically just like drop down on every single square until you find all the right ones, but you'll probably die if you do that. So like it actually has a slightly interesting conceit to it, but what I found to be the problem is that it really quickly jumps from being like manageable puzzles to those like ginormous ones. So about like,
oh yeah,
right. So you get to about halfway through and you're like, okay, now every puzzle is just this humongous puzzle. And I can't use my little X's.
20 by 20.
What? Yeah, 20 by 20.
20 by 20.
Yeah.
Again, and then it's a mental math thing, because you're not really. It just becomes a memory test, presumably.
Pretty much, yeah. So, like, if you like Picross, get this on sale when it's really cheap. Play through the first 50%, and you'll have a great time. And that's what I did. And the translation's like real whack. It wasn't. It's not English based, but I don't really think it matters. There's no real story there. It's just kind of for fun. So anyway, I retired both those because I was just like, I'm done. They're good, but I'm done.
Just before we leave Picross, did either of you ever play the Pokemon Picross game they made for 3DS?
Oh yeah, I completed all the stages.
Yeah, me too. It's really good, Alex. You should totally. It's free. Like they want you to buy coins, but you totally don't have to.
Yeah, look, you can just like get by without them just fine. Because like in the time like you research the thing, you just take a break from solving all those puzzles.
I played it on and off for about 4 months when I first got my 3DS, and I'm just booting it on off camera. So in about 5 minutes, I'll be able to tell you how many hours I wasted on this game.
Oh god! But see, that's what Picross is.
It was
me,
a lot.
Right? Yeah, it's like I'll sit in front of my TV and I'm just going to be like, time to solve some puzzles. Like I'm just all over it.
So the kind of game you could play while maybe listening to a podcast.
Oh,
foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing. Actually, what I will say is, if people like Picross, 100% you need to get Murder by Numbers. That game is awesome. It is Phoenix Wright meets Picross, and I love it.
I've been wanting to play that, but it is not as high like in the priority list on the backlog.
That's fair.
Yep, that's always the thing.
But I got it.
Before I reveal it, how many hours do you think I spent playing Pokemon Picross?
Oh man, you said over 4 months. Huh?
I first played it. It's more than 4 months. I first played it on the 5th of May 2018. I last played it on the 27th of January 2019.
Oh, that's like a full
year. That's 8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to say like 330 hours.
330, okay. Yeah. Paula?
I'm going to say...
That's way
do I have
too
to give
high.
an exact number? I guess like 150 or something like that.
Wow. It's sort of disappointing when you massively overcast it.
So it's really more like, I played 70 hours.
How
it's 60. I
60.
played 60 hours.
Oh man, I was close on the second guess.
You were.
Yeah.
Too late by that point, though. You'd already disappointed me.
Yeah, 330 is like way too high. I was like, I knew the minute I said it, I was like, that's insane. There's no way you could put that many hours into Picross.
Man, I feel like there's very few games you can legitimately put that many hours into without like trying.
I know. Shall we move on to what we're playing?
You read my mind, Alex.
Speaking of games, you can put many hours into without trying, but
oh, segue.
I've continued my remodeling adventures on Animal Crossing.
Nice.
Which I put like 270 hours in the game so far. The only game on Switch that I put more time than that in is Breath of the Wild with 285, I think.
I still alive.
Nice.
And the other game I'm currently playing is, again, Color Malice, a repeat from last week.
Oh, Color and Malice. Okay, wait, what was Color and Malice again? Yeah, can you explain Color and Malice again?
Okay, so let me get my coin. Because in this game, there's... Damn, this make it a little bit real too quick, but there's this organization called Adonis.
Okay.
And that month by month, they have been committing crimes, and the way you know that it is this organization in particular is because they leave a coin that has like the official coin with the cat and stuff, and a Roman numeral. That's like the main thing they leave behind. So what Adonis is doing is this thing called X Day. We're like, in the last, was it in December? Yeah, I think it's December. They started like doing crimes like more frequently, and they leave the coin, and the Roman numeral now is decreasing. And the thing about this game is that when X Day arrives, people are gonna be like judged in a way.
Okay.
And the more you you know about the cases, it starts to get like really interesting because like some of these cases are like mostly driven by revenge by a group of individuals. Revenge against those who wrong them. And sometimes even that people can be anywhere. Like I remember there was like this case like at a school, or this other case that was about a certain online game because this dude was cyberbullied. And there was like I'm just telling like the general ideas of the case you know of at the beginning of the game. For example,
okay.
So it is not spoilery. Just saying.
It's like, don't freak out, people. You're good.
Don't freak out, people. You know this in the first 2 hours of a 40-hour game.
Oh wow. Okay, shit, it's a long one, huh?
Yeah, and I like pretty much. I don't want to say I'm rushing through the game, but since this is technically a replay, because I've been wanting to play the sequel, Unlimited, that is right behind me.
Okay, because I was looking that up and I saw that there's like Unlimited and then there's Malice. So they are different then, huh?
Yeah, the first game has all the story about the cases and how Hoshino Itika, the protagonist, helps to solve them, because just gonna say she's kind of like an important actor. And what I like about this game is that you get to see like other people's perspective at times, even though you don't necessarily know who you're seeing, whose is the perspective.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Unlimited is more like, from what I heard, and I've been trying to keep it spoiler free, is more like some like what you call a fan disc, because it is an automata after all. But I think they have an extra route, which since these games came out like recently on the Switch, and they were like trapped on the beta for a while. I'd rather like not spoil who's the newer route about.
Okay, hold on. Can you this is interesting because I've heard this term a few times and I think I only learned about it recently. But for those listening, can you talk a little bit about what otome games are?
Okay, the third version is like they are like visual novels and or dating sims targeted towards a female audience. Some of the more well-known ones are like Hakuoki, God Realize, Colors X Malice is becoming like really popular, and then you have Mystic Messenger, Nameless, Dandelion, and I could go on and on.
That's cool. That's really cool.
The Vita hosted most of the ones that you mentioned.
Huh?
And the Vita, most of those were on the Vita, right? Because I recognize quite a few of those names.
Yeah, there a lot of them. A lot of them made their way to the Vitas. Like Cold Realize was originally a game for the Vita, and this time around, like I moved like a lot of stuff in my bookshelf, but there's literally like one of the space of my bookshelf is dedicated to Cold Realize.
Nice.
And there's another one like dedicated to Atomic games, and I actually can tell you how many ones got localized.
Oh wow!
I think about like 10 games.
Oh dang! Okay, so if the Vita was like huge for them, I'm guessing the Switch is kind of like the natural successor in a lot of ways, I'd imagine.
Well, of course. This year, like Axis Games has been like the prior, I mean the prime localizer of these games for Western audiences.
Cool.
And and they start like I guess with safe bets, but now we're getting like some of the newer stuff, foreshadowing for the monthly pickups thingy.
Oh, there we go. Nice. Cool. Thanks for sharing. I'm learning some new stuff. I always sort of like heard of Code Realize, but I was like, I'm not sure what this is, but nice. I'm going to do some more digging.
I mean, in another time, I could actually like talk more about the Code Realize series, because it's like very, very. I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a future segment.
Yeah.
We need to do like a. Yeah, we'll have to do someday like a special episode, which is just like Otome games and stuff, and we'll bring on some guests. It'll be great.
Oh my god, we're gonna be here forever.
Make it a live, make a thing. Here, I guess I'll jump in next if that's cool. Unless would you any other games?
Knock yourself out, man. Knock yourself out.
Nice. I'm gonna jump in. So I've been playing some 3DS fun times, playing some Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, chewing my way to town.
AKA the best Zelda game ever made. Don't at me.
So I'm having a really weird relationship with this game. Most of the time, I'm just like, this is awesome, and it's really like it very much feels. Almost like, I don't know, this might sound weird, but it feels like the most handheld Zelda game I've ever played, in the sense that it's like, it really embraces the idea that like, hey, maybe you should just like chill out for a few minutes after this, you know, like, it's so segmented in like kind of a satisfying way, where it's like there are very clear markers as to when you've progressed. So like I find like, you know, I'm getting like another train map, and it's like, all right, good, time to take a break for a bit. And like it really just feels like it's set up in that way to really like chunk it out. So I've been really spreading it out over the last few weeks and like enjoying it. And then there are moments when I have to use the microphone and I want to die. I wish the microphone never existed in a DS. You know what I mean? When you have to go like blow into it all the time.
I didn't even remember that being a part of the game. What did you have to?
Oh my god! You have to use the mic every time you want to use the freaking pan flute, and there's like this like whirlwind thing
yes,
that you have to blow in.
I remember now.
And look, there are these segments where it's like the Locomoto guys are like, hey, you know, if you want to get my section of the rail map, you gotta play a duet with me. And I'm like, oh no!
Oh, I loved those. They were great.
They're cute. It's just, I have to say, maybe it's because I'm on the 3DS or something, but like the 3DS microphone might be like hyper sensitive, because I will blow like softly and it'll be like and play like 1,000 notes, and I'm like, no.
I'm trying. Oh, go on.
Because like I actually remember playing until the pamphlet section, and I couldn't get it right at all.
Yeah.
But I think it might have something to do like with the 3DS microphone, because like I've used the microphone like on other games, but on a new 3DS, and I haven't had like any trouble at all so far.
Yeah, I would.
So yelling objection stuff.
Yeah, I think it is potentially something with the 3DS. I don't think it's enough to like not go for the game. Like, it's slightly annoying, but the reality is that like it also has some of the most interesting puzzle usages. Like, they have some really cool items in the game that are just like there's items in this game that legitimately I've just never seen in a Zelda game that I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Like, we're thinking about it. I'm not the hugest fan of doing everything with the stylus, though they do it extremely well. Like, that's one thing I'll say. It's like, it's very well done. So put it this way. So far, digging the game. I am excited to talk about it a little bit more later. We might do, a little special episode, talk about this game more in depth. But yeah, so far, I'm having fun. I like it more than I think I liked Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah. I mean, that's easy because the Phantom Hourglass made you play the same segment 6 times. Yeah. By virtue of not doing that, it was always going to be better. And it's a shame because in all the other respects, actually, the Phantom Hourglass did the same things really well that Spirit Tracks did.
Yeah.
In terms of using the stylus, I prefer the train, but navigating by boat, they nailed that.
Mm-hmm.
various puzzle things. There's the classic one where, very mild spoiler, the one where they give you the map and it's like, how do I print it? And I literally closed the DS to think about it, opened it up again, realized it had cleared, and I was like, oh.
You're like, that's amazing. Yeah, I love being able to write on the map. I do think that is really, really cool.
Yes.
Like, it's just a great feature.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it really makes puzzle solving more interesting in a lot of ways. You're like, oh yeah, I can take notes. You're like, this is great.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can play in games too.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been playing that and it's good. I'm actually really close to the end. I'm in like the 4th section of the world right now, so I'm nearing it. I've been playing through Silent Hill 2, using my lovely getting some lovely help from Rick here on a nice little emulator on my computer. It's been very fun. I've been playing it with my partner. We've been like just going through it slowly. You know what? Okay, this is probably a hot take. I think I liked Silent Hill Shattered Memories more than I like Silent Hill 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'll just be honest. I think over time, Shattered Memories actually holds up a bit better.
Don't you mean Shitted Memories?
It's really, that game's good. Like, it's hard to, but like, Shattered Memories is nice. The thing is, especially playing it with somebody, like, I think maybe playing it on its own, Silent Hill 2 might be a bit better, but Silent Hill Shattered Memories, it controls fluidly. It's no longer in the tank control eras. Yes, there's no like necessarily monsters around to kill you, but if I'm being honest with you, the monsters in Silent Hill 2, they're not really a threat. It's just more of an annoyance. Because of tank controls, they have to be so slow, right? And the little like in Shattered Memories, they did that whole thing where they really were like influencing the game through like your choices and like through your fears, which was just cool. But anyway, Silent Hill 2 is fun. I'll talk more about it another time. I'm like halfway through the game, so who knows? Maybe by the time I'm done, I'll be like, I'm so stupid. It's the greatest game.
To be fair, it could be shit. I've never played Silent Hill 2. I just really didn't like Shattered Memories when I played it.
That's fair.
It's one of those things. Narratively, I agree with you. It was a really clever way to set up a retelling of that original story, and they go some really smart places with it. But I just don't think the gameplay holds up. It's walking sim punctuated with really shitty chase sequences.
Yes, and that is 100% accurate. It's just like Silent Hill 2 at this point. Anyway, yeah, I won't go into too much more on that because I don't want to go too long on Silent Hill. But needless to say, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, or not needless to say, but Shattered Memories was my first Silent Hill game, which is a weird way to enter the series, I think. But I am enjoying 2 at the moment. I think people should play it. It's fun. I'm also playing Blasphemous from the game of the month last month. And because it went on sale like a day or so after we recorded. And what I'm going to say so far is like, this is exactly a game for me. Like, this is very much my wheelhouse. It's like Hollow Knight, but maybe not quite as good. Its controls are a little chunkier, I guess is the way I describe it. Like, you just feel kind of not necessarily purposefully slow, but you're a little slow.
A bit weightier.
Yeah, and there's, honestly, so at the moment I've explored about 30% of the map, and I've gotten fairly far. Not really far in it, but like enough where I've unlocked a number of things. I haven't died that much, which has been nice. But again, like, this is sort of a game that I'm familiar with. Like, it's that Dark Souls style, and heavily influenced by Catholic imagery. Like, it's just the most Catholic game I think I've ever played. And my only gripe that I'll have right now is you have a slide move, right? So you can, it's like the dodge in a Dark Souls game, but you can slide. Yeah. Now the issue is that this freaking slide is not tied with the directional stick. It's tied with the direction you're facing.
No.
Yeah. So today, I just completed this extremely tricky, kind of optional platforming segment. And I got to the very end. And at the very end, they ask you to slide under something.
No.
So I press right on my stick and slide. And my guy slides to the left into a spike pit. And I was like,
no.
Yeah, it was so funny. My partner was out in the living room doing work. And I just went, oh, you gotta be, what the shit? She was like, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing, it's just a game. It's like,
Oh, I can relate so much.
right. Oh, so yeah, it's a good game.
Things only gamers will understand.
Right. Oh my God. That was it. Like, I was like, I did everything right. And then I lose because of a stupid control input. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Don't say that.
So anyway, those are the games I've been playing.
Right. I need to get around to Blasphemous eventually. I'm sure in a couple of weeks it will be on my section of this segment. As it is, there are 5 games that I'm going to blast through really quickly that I'm currently playing. So I'm still playing OG Doom.
Nice.
Feel very much the same as I did when we spoke about it last week. I think it's not aged well, unfortunately. Similar in a way is Super Mario World, which is this month's game of the month. I think by 2020 standards, it's like bang in the middle of a 6 and a 7 out of 10. If you played it when it came out, the nostalgia probably holds that number up. But having played New Super Mario Brothers and come back to it, it feels very bare bones. It's fine. And I've been playing it on my micro, which is wonderful. It's nice just to be able to sort of ping it out. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere because of global events, but it's still nice to have it in a little tiny form factor. So I'll finish it. It's fine, but it's nothing special. I've been playing Ghostrunner, which we mentioned towards the beginning of the podcast, and actually hearing the stuff you were saying about Bloodroots. That's the one. Nailed it. I can actually relate a little bit in terms of my experience with Ghostrunner. So I played both the demos they brought out prior to release. Loved them. Bought the game day one. It helped that there was a discount and I had an Epic Games Store voucher. So I paid £10 for a £25 game on launch, which made it very easy to justify that purchase. Unfortunately, right after the demo ends is where some of the level design bullshit sort of begins. So,
of course.
And the level design is the only thing holding it back. Actually, no. 2 things are holding it back. One, the wall run activation's a little bit finicky. They could patch that in the next few days. I don't know. But the level design, they're probably not going to. So it's like Hotline Miami, Bloodroots, everything else. It's one hit kill for you and your opponents. Except in the 3rd level, they introduce these blue shields, and the shields have an energy track that goes back to a shield node. And so it makes what is actually a really nice set of open sort of combat arenas that they've included so far in the game somewhat redundant, because you have to kill those shields.
Yeah.
So you are going X and Y and Z, or you're going to keep pressing R to restart until you do, which is a shame, because in every other respect, I actually really, really like the game. And if they eased up on the shields and fixed the wall running, it would probably be a 9. As it is, it's sort of hovering around a 6, which is a shame.
Yes. Yeah, it sounds just like Bloodroots, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also supposed to be pretty short. So I'm an hour and a bit in. On the site, it's like 6 to 7 hours to complete. And the platforming parts, which seem to be the overwhelming majority of the game, in fairness, I'm really, really enjoying. So I'll probably push through, and hopefully, touch wood, it gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
I've been playing MadWorld on the Wii. Criminally underappreciated game from Platinum. And it nails the art style. So with games like that, the art style is always a bit of a risk, because you can make it look pretty in pictures and horrible in motion. Great example of that is a game I played called Stigmatized Property. It's like a £2 horror sort of walking sim thing. Looks amazing in screenshots, but gave me a migraine trying to play. It legitimately the most fucking awful visual experience I've ever had with a video game. Oof. Ever. It truly horrific. MadWorld nails it. It's the Sin City black and white with red blood, and it's perfect. The only thing that's maybe a negative, because the combat's amazing, the world's brilliant. It nails the sense of style and humor. that you need to make that kind of narrative roll. The only thing that sort of sucks is that you don't have proper camera control. It's a victim of being stuck on the Wii, because you don't have the second analog stick, and for whatever reason, probably because you have to use the up and down and left and right waggle, trying to use it for camera control as well would be a nightmare. So what they do instead is you have a similar to a lot of games on the PSP, you have a single button that recenters the camera behind you, and that's it. And you have a lock on that's sort of semi helpful, but it actually doesn't detract too much from the game. The game's fantastic. Still holds up so far from the levels I've played. So if you've still got a Wii or a Wii U banging around and you have £2 to spare, because this game goes cheap now. There must just be loads of copies bouncing around and nobody wanting to keep them. Well worth a look.
I feel like everybody was like, yes, I have a Wii. Yes, I still buy Wii games.
I unironically bought a few the other week.
Nice.
It's what did I buy? I bought Wario Land, which I'll talk about later. I bought a Dragon Quest game, which I immediately regretted buying because it's not good at all.
Oh, yo.
And I bought Ghost Squad, which is like a point-and-click shooter, which was £1 and was well worth every penny I spent. It's one of those, I'd hate it if I paid full price for it.
Yeah.
But for £1, like 2 hours of gameplay, perfect.
You're like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly. And the last one, just quickly, is Ultimate NES Remix on the 3DS. It's really clever. It breathes new life into games that I wouldn't have otherwise touched. It's clear that they're hoping to sort of generate sales off the back of it because there's a buy this game button in the game. So it's like you don't get access to the full Super Mario Brothers. You get like 20 remix stages where they've sort of shuffled things together. And then if you want to play the full game, the eShop's right over here.
Yeah, so... gotcha.
but the base remix game is really clever. It's a great way to leverage those IPs. And even as somebody who didn't play them growing up, it's really nice to play both the sort of vanilla stages and the remix stages. Because the remix stuff's mad. So, like, for example, there's a level where you have to beat the tree boss at the start of Kirby's Adventure. But you've got a load of boos encroaching from the left-hand side of the screen. So you have to beat it while continuing to flip your gaze to stop the boos before they catch you. And it's just clever stuff like that where they mix and mash things together. And it's really whimsical and fun. And not even innovative, because that word's horrifically overused. It's constantly surprising in a very good way is what I'm going to go with. And that's what I'm playing.
Good. Well,
and I'll tell you what else I'm playing, and this will lead into the podcast game.
Oh, but wait, we have to signpost these. Remember?
Wow.
So hold on, I'm gonna make I'm gonna be really obvious and go, hey everybody, we're changing subjects, and we're gonna talk now about podcast games.
I'm glad you took it on the chin, Alex. You've not been bitter about it.
I'm not bitter.
You just rolled with it.
I like feedback. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I do like feedback. It's good.
That's like the most passive-aggressive way to say that.
Yeah. Well, you know.
No, it's not. It's fine.
No, it said it's fine. Oh my
Nothing's
God.
wrong, okay?
But actually, though, we are going to talk about podcast games, which for those who don't know necessarily what we mean by that, it's quite simply games that you play while listening to a podcast, like maybe this one.
Hey.
Yeah.
You can knock down
Cross-promotion.
that backlog as you listen to us.
Yeah, get that backlog down.
Or, better yet, give us your full undivided attention.
Yeah, you should be sitting in a dark room with headphones, listening only to us.
Oh, god damn. Yeah, so I mean, my go-to for this, weirdly enough, tends to be multiplayer games. If it's a game with a story, unless the story's shit and you're just playing it for the gameplay, which does occasionally happen, I gravitate towards things like Fall Guys. That's my current go-to. Rocket League, Call of Duty multiplayer, all the classics, basically. Yeah. And it's nice because with those games, it tends to be a muscle memory thing. So I've sunk an ungodly amount of hours into Rocket League by now. I know what I'm doing. I can do it second nature. And it's basically just nice to have the audio coming in and also just be sort of keeping your hands engaged.
Yeah, they're kind of comfort games, you know? Like, I don't know about you guys, but like I'm a little more in the vein of like it needs to be more games that I have to play on my TV. Those are like my podcast games, because like Switch games for me have actually ended up being my like TV games, where like I'll put a TV show on, like a sitcom, and I'll play them. But like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is straight up for me the epitome of the podcast game, because like that game, I loved it, but there are so many segments where you're just kind of walking around doing random stuff. And so I listened to like this philosophy podcast while I did it, and I learned a ton about philosophy while playing Assassin's Creed. It was great. I think you just need to be in the right mood for it. I don't know. What about you, Paula? Do you play any? I mean, I would imagine visual novels aren't exactly podcast games, though, huh? Maybe Animal Crossing.
Especially like with the voice acting, you don't really want to listen to other things while you play. But stuff like Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing makes like a perfect podcast or even a streaming game for me, because like when I'm just watching like a stream about Animal Crossing, it's like, oh, I feel creative, you know, like oh, I may want that on my island. And the other kind of games that I play, like light puzzle games in the vein of Pictoquest. Or when I'm correct hunting on my 100% run on Breath of the Wild.
Nice.
Which, by the way, that run is 95 hours in.
Oh boy!
And I've heard the yay more times than I can remember.
I couldn't do that.
What do you even get anything good for getting all the Koroks?
About that.
Spoiler alert, you don't. But anyway.
All right, come on. There's something I'm not being told here.
Just in case anyone cares about this, but do you want to say it, Paula? Do you know what they get, right?
I know what it is. You pretty much get a pile of golden Korok poop.
That's not what they do to you.
No, genuinely, that's what they do to you.
and people know it and do it anyway. Oh my god. No wonder they think they can sell Mario Anniversary for 3 months and get away with it. Fuck me.
I can.
That actually angers me. I
feel like we don't really have much of a hot take on this subject either, though, because like really, it's like a podcast game is just kind of like, I love it, you know. Like I played Luigi's Mansion while listening to podcasts for the most part. Like I would just pause it when something happens that was vaguely important, but it's like, you know what I mean? I just kind of love the ability to sort of zone out, play something comfortable, and just like listen to some people chat, you know? Yeah,
so we basically agree that they are a good thing in as much as they exist.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't want them all to be like that, obviously. Then I'd be like a little, but, you know.
No. Variety is the spice of life, as they say.
So if anyone was hoping for some serious debate, sorry to disappoint you. A vigorous.
Said like a true Canadian.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just can't help it. Why don't we move along then, because I'm cognizant of time. Why don't we get to our October game acquisitions? I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about these, because I'm probably going to end up talking about these in the future. But who would like to begin? Rick, why don't you regale us? You just have a times 10 on our agenda.
I do. So when we were talking about trying this out as a segment, I sort of indicated to Alex and Paula that I'm a bit of an eBay fiend. And no less than 5 of the games that I've picked up this month are eBay pickups. Nice. And that's not including the Fire Emblems, which I'll be talking about in December, because that was November 1st. So they aren't even part of it. So we'll do the eBay ones first, and then we'll do the non-eBay ones. So I picked up Children and Heroes of Mana, both for the DS.
Nice.
Combined total of £20. I picked up The Club for PS3, which is like a level-based high score shooter. That was $250. I picked up Wario Land: The Shape Dimension, which I mentioned a moment ago, which people seem to sleep on. Like, it reviewed really, really well, but you never hear anyone talk about it anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is, it's a shame. People sleep on Wario in general. His platformers are dope. Wario Land 1 on the GB, right up there. That's like a 9 out of 10. It's a really good game. And soon you'll probably be hearing me talking about Wario Land 4 because that's going to be next in my micro once Mario World comes out of it.
We can have a chat about that. I did not enjoy that game, but I can see why people would. Yeah, well, let's talk about that when you get to it.
Well, depending on if you're still hosting next week. And I also bought...
He just vanished. We don't know why.
And the last one I picked up was Mario Tennis Open for the 3DS. And that was a nice round £5. Then Ghostrunner, which I've mentioned. 10mg Collection, which I've mentioned. The Solitaire Conspiracy, which is the latest game from Mike Bithell, creator of Thomas Was Alone, the Quarantine Circular and Subsurface Circular games, which, if you like story-based games, they are well worth a look. I picked that up on release because there was quite a healthy discount, and I've liked all of his other games, so I thought that was worth a go. And then I, like the fool I am, panic bought 2 Vita games because of the impending removal of Vita games from the PSN web store. One of those games, Time Spinner, then went half price a week later.
Oh
no!
Yeah, it's one of those. I just have to remind myself that it looks great, and I'm happy. And I was happy at the time paying full price. So, c'est la vie. And then the last one I picked up was MotorStorm RC, which is like the isometric MotorStorm game that they released like right at the end of the PS3's life, which is really fun. That is another great podcast game, just to bring it full circle. I haven't played much of it, but what I did with Joe Rogan. So
there you go.
Yeah, there we go. So that's all of my acquisitions at lightning speed.
Yeah, you are an eBay fiend, good sir. Well done. Paula, why don't you take it away? What about you? I know you are an import fiend.
I am the import fiend, and this one I actually got. Well, both of the games. Well, it's technically 3 games, but 2 purchases. Because the games I got this month are Robotic Notes, the double pack, and Pia Fiore, that is an Otome game that came out last month. And I was like so happy about both of these releases because, again, Otome games in the West. And it is funny how Axis Game have found like a purpose for this space. Like you get like the pretty art, like oh my god.
So for those who can't see, you know, on the little Switch cases, they have that top spot that was like clearly intended for, you know, like manuals, but has never been there.
Yeah, what Axis Game is doing is like some of the games they release come with these little like collectible cards that have like all the there goes my collectible that has like all the characters of the game.
Cards that used to have all the characters of the game on them.
And very fun fact that we actually took a screenshot of this, but someone at Axis posted something among the lines that they found like a box or something with the day one copies of the game, and accidentally post the Pia Fiore post with the Color-X Malice ones.
Oh,
womp womp.
Yep. They took it down and corrected the mistake, but it was like it has the name of the game in the card in the front.
Oh yeah, that's kind of it's a reading mistake right there.
We've all goofed. We don't always goof on Twitter to everybody.
Oh yeah, like everyone makes mistakes. We know it.
She's like, but that was a pretty big one.
No, it wasn't for. It was there for, I think, an I don't know if an hour or so. But it was there for a really short time, but people noticed.
That was at least a temporary one as well.
Screenshotted it.
Nice.
It's the one that always makes me laugh in terms of goofs that really are forever is I'm just gonna see if I can find a screenshot for your guys' benefit, not necessarily for the people listening, but for the release of I think it was a launch title for the 3DS, or it was close. Resident Evil Revelations. They spelt Revelations wrong on the box.
On the box.
On the box, yeah.
On the box.
I think they spelt it with 2 A's, so it was Revelations, not Revelations.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can find.
I guess
a
it
pic.
sort of sounds like that too. Revelations, revelation, revelations. Yeah, it kind of sounds like reva. I'm sure that's what happened. They like heard it and were like, "Oh, that's right." Well,
oh no! It's not even that excusable. What they've done is they've typed the I and the T the wrong way around, so it's Revelatons.
Oh, okay, never mind. I got nothing to say there.
I was giving them more credit than they deserve.
That's just a goof.
That is
just
a
a
big
goof.
goof.
Oh, yeah.
And also, maybe the title of this episode.
There we go. That's just a goof. Nice. Oh, that's a good title. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, you didn't. You probably read it before you.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
So I'll go quick through some of mine here. Oh, wait, do you have more there, Paula? Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Oh yeah, the thing about the Robotic Notes double pack is that it has 2 games. That is Robotic Notes Elite and Robotic Notes Dutch. And this game is the first time it comes to the West, and it's part of the science adventure series. You might recognize the more popular title, Steins Gate.
Oh, I do know that one.
Yeah, so Robotic Notes, Chaos Head, and Steins Gate all kind of take part in the same universe, and...
Oh, Chaos Child is in that bubble as well?
Who?
Did I mishear? You said Chaos Child, or did I...
Yeah, because like Chaos Head, Chaos Child, Steins Gate 0, Robotic Notes, and Robotic Notes Dash, all of and then like a Occultic 9 that hasn't come out in the West, and a title that I do not remember. And
you're connecting it all for me
where
now.
are you?
I feel like that lady with the math.
The always funny meme where he's got the red string and everything.
Oh yeah,
like.
Pepe Sylvia. I'm like,
Leave that.
It's all Steins Gate.
Okay, sorry.
Title number 2.
Yeah, Mike. Sorry about that. I have to stop my cat because she was messing with a project I was working on.
Oh, that's
Don't
okay.
apologize to us. You're the one that's editing this week.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
But yeah, no, I thought Chaos, it was a whole separate. So I didn't realize it was all.
The more you know.
I'm doing hand gestures that are no good for the listeners. I didn't realize they were together. I didn't realize it was the same series.
Cool.
It is. All of them are part of the same overall universe. Like they all take place. Like I cannot even say in the same. I can't say in the same timeline. Damn it!
Because it's not. Yeah.
Because it is not.
I mean, I suppose when you have a
franchise.
game with multiple timelines, you can make a huge universe however you want. Because it's like, yeah, well, it's in this timeline, so buzz off.
And it's very interesting because actually you see 2 characters from Steins Gate here.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing, Paul.
I knew because of that because both of them are in the cover, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna go real quick through some of these here. So I got, which one person from the forums I think will be very pleased by. I got Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age on the Switch. It was half off, and I was like, it was the physical edition, so I was like, yeah, you know what? I like the idea of doing this. So I nabbed that. And then I also nabbed Call of Juarez Gunslinger. And it was
heard good things.
Yeah, okay. So I have a few thoughts here. So it was only $10.
Oh, hang on, you're echoing. I don't know if it's just me, but I've got echo.
Yeah, I think whenever I'm talking, Paula, I'm getting an echo on you.
I am sorry.
That's okay.
I'm
I'm a master.
It's all right. You're editing this week. It's
yeah.
fine.
Also, I'm real good at getting that cleaned up, so don't worry. But anyway, Call of
To be fair, you
Juarez.
can just click this to you. Go on.
Yeah, there we go. So Call of Juarez, it was the physical edition, and I thought $10 for the physical edition. I'm like, what is happening with that? Yeah. So when I get it, it's like, oh, here's the download code, of which I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Why did they even make these? But at the same time, it was cheaper than it's ever been on the eShop. So I was kind of like, I mean, I guess I still won out in the end. Like, it's still way cheaper, and I guess I have an extra Switch box if I ever need to use it for something else. But yeah, anyway. And then I also bought Hades on sale, which I'm very excited. I played a little bit of it, and I'm going to not say anything because I'll talk about that later. And then obviously Blasphemous. And I also got Layers of Fear for really cheap. It was like $3 or $4. And I've heard like decent things about it. I think it's from the team who made Amnesia, The Dark Descent and whatnot.
I'm not sure if it's the same. It's Bloober team. I don't know if they were Amnesia. I hated Layers of Fear. I hope you like it, but I didn't.
That's fair.
That's just a genre thing, though. I hate. It's not even that I hate horror. I don't mind horror games. It's I hate being able to see the triggers and see the puppet master pull the string, sort of thing. And I just found Layers of Fear was pretty fucking awful. For not hiding that, but that's just a personal preference thing.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember. I remember the developers, they've made other horror games. I think that's what it is. I don't think they've made. Oh no! It was Observer and Blair Witch, not Amnesia. Yeah.
I didn't like Observer either.
Yeah.
That might be it.
Well, that's the thing. I think if you don't like that, because they're a Polish company, so I think if you don't like that sort of style, then yeah, I don't think you'll like any of their games. Which is totally fair. So that's what I got. So why don't we move along then to our last topic before our lovely game. So Abatage wanted to ask us, and this is our viewer question, or listener question, what's your gaming background / preferences? So I figure people would like to get to know us a little more. I figure they're probably starting to get to know us a little bit, thanks to all the games we talked about today. But yeah, why don't we just go around and talk a little bit about like our preferences and whatnot.
Speaking of games we like and dislike.
Yeah, that was good. So clearly, Rick is not a big fan of that style.
Yeah, no. It's go on then. I'll both feet first this because I have made. I intended to make a couple of bullet points. I've got like a page of bullet points about my gaming background and preferences. I'll blast through them super quick. It's fine. So. My first gaming experiences were handhelds. I've always gravitated towards handhelds. So I started with Super Mario Land and Wave Racer on the OG Game Boy. And my parents, as a way of like limiting my screen time, pretended like it had to be plugged into the wall. There were no batteries in that Game Boy for the first 3 months. But I was a clever kid and I was like fiddling with the back and I was like, batteries go in there. So the jig was up eventually. But yeah, so I had the Game Boy and then the Game Boy Advance long before we ever had even a console, let alone a PC. My preference is physical wherever possible. I've given up the fight on PC because it's long gone. But for consoles, for handhelds, I will always try and buy a physical copy if I can. As we've alluded to in this episode in particular, gameplay is king for me. I'll suffer through a poor narrative if the gameplay is good, but I won't do it the other way around. And while I do like a good narrative, I tend to sort of have a higher bar for it to clear outside of sort of indies, 10 milligram type stuff. I'm a sucker for a good soundtrack, probably more so than art. I think music will make a game for me more than a distinctive art style will. Some standouts that I've made a note of, obviously Chrono Trigger, that's always a classic. The Shin Megami Tensei and Persona games have always had banging soundtracks. Base Escape's work for Vanillaware games is amazing. So 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, aka the game of the decade, has phenomenal music. Really, really good. People have put it on YouTube already, and even for the couple of months before I got the game, I was listening to that soundtrack while I was doing other stuff. It's just amazing. Mirror's Edge, that used to be my go-to. Like studying OST, really good soundtrack. People sleep on that. And then some indie ones. There's a guy called Chris Christodoulou, a Greek composer. who does Hopo Games' soundtrack. So Deadbolt, Risk of Rain, Risk of Rain 2. I can't remember the guy's name, but the soundtrack for Velocity 2X is another one that's really, really good.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah, it's great games, as is the prequel Velocity Ultra. They're both fantastic. And even better on the Vita, because instead of like trying to manipulate where you're teleporting to with the sticks, you can just tap on the touchscreen. Pro tip. In terms of art, the things I go for are pixel art, stylized low poly, 2D hand drawn art, so like the UBR engine stuff or Vanillaware stuff, and then obviously the realistic stuff's quite nice also. And in terms of games I do and don't like, I have the opinion that we don't really like and dislike genres. We're just more or less picky about them. So like, if I give you a few examples of genres I don't gravitate towards, there are games that I like in those genres. So we touched on races last week. Don't like races generally. Love Mario Kart Burnout. Get bored of puzzle games quite easily. The Box Boy series on 3DS, and I think there's a Switch one as well. Could play those all day. Not about fighting games. The Dissidia Final Fantasy, not the NT one on PS4. That's hot garbage. But on PSP 012, beautiful. The genres I do gravitate towards tend to be action, of all varieties, Metroidvania, Hotline Miami type stuff, 3D character, action platformers, first-person parkour stuff, turn-based strategy, and various kinds of RPGs. But I will generally try anything. I'll generally retire anything as well pretty quickly, but I'll try most things.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in sort of the same boat as you in that sense. Like, honestly, your story sounds like a bit familiar to me as well, except like I grew up, it's really weird. I started gaming on a PC, and it was oh man, I had this written down before. It was like an Apple Power PC or something like this. It was like widely considered the worst version of Apple's like computers that they released, but for some reason I had like Civ 2 and like TIE Fighter and all these games on it, and so I was like this little 6-7-year-old who knew nothing about video games trying to play complex like RTSs, and I just got hooked. But then I ended up I think I probably got more obsessed with like handhelds, like you were talking about. Like Pokemon Red is the first game I can kind of remember being like, that was my game. And so like I had a Game Boy Color first, and then from there on out, it was just kind of like, I've become like a console flip-flopper, I guess, like I've had all of Nintendo's handhelds, and then I would do like the GameCube, and then the 360, and then I got the PS4, but I bought a PS3 at the end of the Xbox's life, and now I'm going to the Series X. You know what I mean? Like I just flip-flop so I can get access to as many games as possible.
A mercenary going wherever the money takes him.
Pretty much, honestly, yeah. And like, I don't know, like in terms of genres, I'm the same way with you. Like I can't say that I have necessarily like a favorite. It's just that I tend to gravitate. Like I have way less patience for things like RTSs, like, and I don't play them much anymore. I used to. They were really fun. For instance, like Pikmin, I don't even want to bother. It's just like not, for me, it's just not fun. But at the same time, and it's like racing games too, right? Like I appreciate them and I see why they're so enjoyable, but I just often, unless they have some kind of like interesting take, I'm just like, oh, it's just me zooming around in a circle a bunch, But at the same time, like Wipeout in VR on the PlayStation, that thing's awesome. I'm like, this is so cool. I'm like zooming across the stage, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, in terms of preferences and stuff, I think people will start to see like I'm a big fan of excellent controls. That's like that. I need that. If the game feels just right for me, like that's why Hollow Knight is probably one of my favorite games ever, because that game is a game where the controls match the gameplay loop and like the mechanics so well, where it's like I feel like I'm I feel like I'm genuinely in full control of the game. I'm not fighting anything. Any failures.
I mean, you are if you're playing Hollow Knight.
Yeah, but I'm not fighting the game. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm fighting.
Don't let me bet. You keep going.
You're not fighting the game. You're fighting the game.
Yes, I'm like fighting it the way it's meant to be. You know, like that's why Blasphemous ticked me off a little in that moment because I was like, that wasn't my fault. That was an unintuitive control, right?
Nothing worse in a game.
Yeah, you know, so like that's really what gets me. And I think these days I've become more and more interested in fun experiences and in gameplay loops because I used to be more like I would play everything, but now I feel like I'm way more cognizant of the type of game it is, right? Like I find when I was younger, games could sort of sneak their way in with me. They'd be like, look, it's about this crazy experience. And then I'm like, no, this is just a first-person shooter. I've played this a million times, right? It's like I need something to kind of grab me a little bit. Yeah, that's
mechanically, you mean?
Yes, mechanically, yeah.
Right. Just to be clear. Okay, yeah, I can totally relate to that. I think it's also just the more you play, the more you've almost seen it before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like been there, done that. Impress me.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Paula?
Yeah.
I feel like you're probably going to be very different.
Yeah, but because like in the first place, like how I started like playing video games is because there was like a Nintendo 64 at my house, and I remember also watching my sister play Warcraft 2 at that time, or indulge like in a little bit of sim genocide while playing The Sims.
I remember doing that.
So it is true. Like most people do that in The Sims.
Oh, that's
Most
the best
people
part of
do
The
that in
Sims.
Sims.
Take away that
Hey,
ladder,
yeah,
let him
it's
drown.
I've never played. My only experience with The Sims is watching my cousin do sim genocide. So I'm relating and also having like low key PTSD flashbacks.
It's the same thing in Roller Coaster Tycoon. Launch them off.
Yep. So yeah, but the main console I grew up playing was the N64 until my mom took it away because school. I do have like a lot of fun memories of playing things like Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers. We with classmates and stuff when we had to like do homework, and then for some reason my mom let us play a little bit of whatever party game we had at the time. But the one game I played the most was Pokemon Stadium, but the one play I wanted to play the most but couldn't was Ocarina of Time, because Ocarina of Time has 3 save files. I am the youngest out of 4 siblings.
Oh.
So I never got to have my save file. And when I was able to have my save file, the Nintendo, I now know that it was like something to do with the AC adapter, but at the time I didn't know. The console will just turn off after 30 minutes to an hour.
Oh no.
Randomly. So I literally had to speedrun each dungeon, but I couldn't save.
Christ.
Wow, you must have got pretty good at that game, huh?
Kind of, sort of. Like at least the first part, I remember where all the collectibles are and what's the most optimal way to get them. But after that, I got to play like a little bit of Sims 2 myself and commit a little bit of genocide myself. But the game I remember playing after that for many years was Warcraft 3 and Warcraft 3 the Frozen Throne. I really like RTS games.
Well, look at this good balance.
As all things should be.
Yes, all things should be. Eventually, in 2000 2012, I got a 3DS and my own copy with my own save file of Ocarina of Time 3D.
Hey!
And since then, I've been a firm advocate for a handheld gaming. I play like if it's on a handheld, it is more likely that I want to play it because I always like on the go. So I started jumping like from the 3DS. I am one of those people who got a Wii U, and then I jumped like into the Vita, PSP, PS4 stuff.
Nice.
And the games I tend to gravitate the most, at least in terms of gameplay, are like, or lack of gameplay, are like, I guess like visual novels because story-driven stuff. RPGs such as Shin Megami Tensei and Persona. Tactical games like Fire Emblem, Wargroove. I've been keeping my eye on Advance Wars, and I've been wanting to play Disgaea for a while.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been admiring the special edition you've got on the shelf behind you. I'm a little bit jealous.
That was on a local store, and it is the Japanese edition.
Huh.
Oh, yeah, it is the Japanese edition of the PSP version.
Yeah, so just so everyone knows, Paula has the best background. Rick and I both just have white walls. Paula's got like a beautiful display of games.
White walls and green faces from the envy.
Yeah, I set up my desk in a way that would be the background and not the disaster on the other side of the room.
Yeah, I kind of ruined it. My gaming shelf, in as much as I have one, is right above where I record.
Nice.
So
nice.
You never get to see it, but it is there.
Mine's way in the back. Should we? Are you good, Paula? Or
so about and back
going?
again.
I don't want to stop.
And the thing I enjoy most about the games, besides a good story, and besides and if it's a so-and-so story, if the characters are good, they save it for me. But the one thing that I like the most is the art of a game.
Nice.
And this is a game I picked up purely because of the art. That is the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. And it is like hand-drawn storybook aesthetic, and it is beautiful.
Cool.
And it actually comes with a little storybook.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I found pretty neat. So the more aesthetically pleasing a game is, the more I'm likely to give it a shot, even if it's not a kind of game that I would normally play. And I actually don't play like many realistic looking games. Sorry. I don't play like many realistic looking games. Not because I hate them by any means. Like, I actually have done playthrough of The Last of Us over there. But it's just like I gravitate towards the pretty stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's like, I want it to be beautiful.
I want it to be beautiful because, like, when the next generation, you can achieve like really realistic looking stuff. And even like in this generation, you can already have like very realistic graphics. But where's the love for the artsy stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do both.
You can do both, like
Ghost of Tsushima fully does both.
Hey,
there you go.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what you need,
There
right?
you go.
Like, games with good art styles tend to last the test of time, usually. But you do have to marry mechanics with it, right? Like, I mean, I think of some 16-bit games from the SNES era, and it's like, they're beautiful now, but when you try to play them, you're like, nah, I'd rather die. So it's just like...
So shy.
Nice. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, everybody. Well, it sounds like hopefully...
While we're on the topic, I know we're running long on time, but this is another question that someone asked, and I'm actually
Oh,
quite curious off the back of this. It's going to take 2 minutes. I
Okay,
promise.
sure. All right.
Okay.
What's everyone's favorite consoles?
Oh, consoles. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't even think
'Cause
I
I-
have an answer.
No?
Actually, no, I
It's,
do. Sorry,
go on.
Xbox 360 for me. That was the pinnacle of gaming for me. Like, I was playing with friends all the time. It had all the Mass Effect games, the Fable games, Oblivion, or like Skyrim and all that. Like, it was just, for me, that was the game, the system where I just like, I sunk so many hours of that game system, and I just absolutely adored it. Like, it's probably the most generic, but it just, I don't know, it hit the friggin' spot for me at the time.
It's your pick. Don't criticize yourself before you've even made it. I have to say Vita. I think it's the perfect blend of library and hackability and inputs. I think it's just as close as you're going to get to perfection.
Nice. What about you, Paula?
In that package.
I really, really, really love my Vita. And up until 2017, I would have picked the same console. But the Switch, especially now that there's the Switch Lite iteration that I have playing somewhere, it has to be my favorite console right now.
I mean, I like how you both picked handhelds, but I mean, it's fine.
I mean, they totally count. They totally count.
They totally count.
Yeah, I know. Well, if we were talking handhelds, yeah, the Switch Lite is just phenomenal. It literally only is the one thing that like hit the Vita out for me a little bit, but like, yeah, the Vita is incredible. I can't wait until one day when my Switch Lite becomes a beautiful homebrew machine. It'll be far in the future. For now, I'm very legal with the Switch, but yeah. Nice. Well, I hope that gives everybody, for now, he says ominously. I hope that gives everyone a little better taste of like who we are. And they'll learn even more as we go along. But should we play our favorite game?
Let's.
The one, the only.
Yep.
How Long to Beat?
Perfect.
Which Everdread has been so kind and made a like randomizer on How Long to Beat, and we can even hide the stats so we can't see it, which is so cool.
Keep it all in house.
Yeah, should we remind them of the rules? So you can, we're gonna pick a game, you guess the time, and if you guess one time within 1 hour, 1 point, 2 times within 2 hours, 3 points, 3 times within 5 hours, 5 points. Are we ready, team?
Let's go.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Clicking the button.
Hit the randomizer.
Ooh. Resident Evil 4.
Okay. We're getting
Another
all the
Resident
Resident
Evil.
Evils.
Yeah, didn't
All
we
the
get...
Resident
Yeah, this is
Evils.
interesting. All right, we had Resident Evil 1 last week and now 4. Can we learn from our mistakes or will we fail again?
I am going to feet first it again. I am going to go main time 9 hours.
Okay.
Main plus 12 hours.
Okay. So main time... Sorry, what was it again?
Main time 9 hours. Main plus 12 hours.
Nice. Main plus 12. What do you think, Paula?
Okay, I'm gonna gamble again because I never learn. I just learn not to listen to Rick. Okay,
I think all the
for-
time's going to be tiny this week. I think you should guess 1 hour for everything.
Okay, main time is gonna be 10 hours. Main plus is gonna be 15, and 100% completion. Oh, wait a second. Trying to remember which game it is which.
Oh yeah, while you think about this, the worst part is I completed this game this year. I should seriously know what the times are. And yet I'm really not sure, and that's driving me crazy. I'm going to say main is 14 hours, I think.
Okay.
That's what I'm feeling. I'm going to say main plus. Yeah, I think I'm going to do all of them because I'm not confident within the 5 hour range, but like I think I might know. So I'm going to say main plus is I'm going to go with like 18. And
Okay.
100% I'm going to go I'm gonna go 24. I think.
24.
Oh no, because they have mercenaries and everything. Oh no, there's the extra stuff in this game. There's all that bonus crap, and that would be the
giving
extras.
out the hints.
Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't have said anything.
To be fair, you don't have to guess all three. You can.
I'm gonna say
you can be a
30
chicken.
for the 100%.
I'm going 30.
Okay.
I'm going 34 for 100%.
Okay, so just to refresh everyone's numbers and check I've got them written down right before we click the reveal the stats. I've got main 9 hours, main plus 12 hours. Paula's got main 10 hours, main plus 15 hours, and 100% 30 hours. Alex has main 14 hours, main plus 18 hours, and 100% 34 whole hours.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to find out we suck again.
All right, here we go. Resident Evil 4. Main story, 16 hours.
God damn it.
So,
Okay, so
I'm in.
Alex is the only one still in the game.
Main plus extras, 20 hours.
Still in the game.
Completionist, 30. Ha ha! 5 points for Alex.
Oh, somebody's got points on the board at least.
Woo! Woo-hoo.
Fair enough.
You know what? This is. I really thought it was 14 hours. How long did it take me to beat this game? I wonder if I can see my times on here. Because I did beat this one.
I feel like we've been super hustled here, Paula. Oh, I played it, but I don't know if I remember. I'm not sure. Goes and gets all 3 right. Nah.
Hustle. I'll have to make sure someone else does the
main
randomizer
2
next
and
week.
11.
You've been watching the elections. You've been learning tricks.
I've been learning many tricks.
He went there.
Did he go there? Oh, geez. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening this week to our slightly longer podcast, but not that much. We're still an hour and a half. That's pretty good, I say, for a podcast.
I'm certain we'd hit 2 hours, so I'll take that.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for watching. This has been How Long to Beat. Signing off.
See you next week.
See you.